Hi everyone, you're welcome to Social Pills channel once again, the right place to get just the right dose for your social challenges. Here on Social Pills channel, I remain your chief host, Gretchen Wonder. The topic for today is destructive orientation. Orientations are decisions that we have made in our mind concerning certain issues. As human beings, we experience things, and then even though they have not happened to us, we can decide that this is how it should be if it happens to us. And these decisions are what is orientation. Over certain issues, your orientation can vary from mine. But sometimes, some of the decisions that we make over certain issues can be destructive. And this is why we are on this topic today. You would have heard certain people say that no matter what, they will never borrow. This is the person's orientation. But sometimes we know that we don't live as islands. There's no human being that is self-sufficient. We can even drag that into countries, that no country is an island. We need to depend on each other. And this is why certain people who have made this decision or who hold this orientation can find it very, very difficult to push through life. Now, let's say you are a married man. You have been carrying this orientation over the years, and then your wife is eventually ill, and you know very well that a close friend of yours is doing very well financially. Sometimes some of these friends will even discuss with you that they have kept certain amount of money in the bank, or they have so idle cash that they are not willing to touch. And then your wife is having a health challenge, and then you cannot just for this once go against this orientation that you have created in your mind, and then you just choose to handle things within yourself. Do you see that certain things that we have decided on can be very, very disastrous and catastrophic to us? Certain people can even be sick themselves, and yet they are holding strong to these orientations that are not helpful to them. This is what destructive orientation can bring to men. Other cases could be the case of that man that cannot forgive. Certain people will just say it, that they cannot forgive. And this orientation becomes a god in people's heart. Certain people, when they make such statement, will never let it go, except the worst happens. And even at that, certain people, if their life is still there, will never let go of some of this orientation. So you say you don't forgive, and then the person that has offended you is your brother. What do you now do? Will you lose that brother just because you don't want to forgive? Say, no, he did so thing to me. There's no way I would ever help him again. And then you will allow that brother to die simply because you have this God orientation in your mind that you cannot forgive. Is it doing you any good? What benefit will you derive from the fact that somebody is dying of help and you cannot even give that help just because you have got an orientation in your heart? You see, this is just within a personal scope. It plays in cultures. Certain people from this culture will say, no, they don't like these other people from this other culture, that they cannot do things with people from this other culture. And then you grow up with this orientation, and then in your job place, the colleague who you are supposed to pair with in an office eventually comes from the other culture. Do you see that you'll be doing yourself more harm than good, because you are not willing to accept that person's person because of his culture? But you don't have a choice. Certain people will just be going about their business normally, but you are the one dying inside simply because of one orientation that you have made a god in your mind. We should shake ourselves, look through certain things, ask questions, and then try to see the reasons why certain things plays out in our lives. Most of these orientations, if you find out, or if you really study, is just mere words that have been spoken over time, maybe by parents. Because the 4 units of socialization is family first, peer group, schools, maybe the church, or let's say the religious organizations, then the society at large. But most times you discover that the family forms some of the strong orientations that people carry in life. And some of these orientations are not really helpful. They are not doing people any good. And even parents, most times, they just say these things even without knowing it. So the first mentor of every human being is their parents. So these things that the parents say over time becomes a godlike orientation in the minds of certain people. And adults carry out this orientation in their mind and live them out without even knowing that the source of this so-called orientation or decisions they are making is just from what their parents have said. They are not looking at the society. They are not looking at life. They are not looking at the negative impact of these decisions on themselves and other people, but they are just in them living it simply because their parents have said it is so, or their parents have taken this stand concerning these issues. So you are that man, you said you cannot marry that lady because she's from this side. You are not looking at her actions. You are not looking at her criteria. You are not looking at her qualification. You are not looking at her attitude. You are not looking at her religion. You are not looking at her person. You are only being driven by the fact that your parents have said that their family have never married from the other culture. So nobody from the family should break that chain. And then you just carry that as an orientation. And then you are missing out the best partner that life can offer you simply because of mere words that your parents have spoken. Some, it could be within the peer pressure. Yes, the peer group rather. So you see, because you are from this peer group and certain orientations have been held, you find yourself in another environment, and then you want to still hold strong to some of these orientations that you carry from this peer group to that place, which will not do you good. So in life, it's good we are open to some of the things or changes that comes. These changes are just lessons that life is throwing at us that we need to come to terms with. What is that orientation that is hurting you and causing harm to people that you have carried over the years? And it looks like this orientation has formed a stronghold and is assuming a godlike position in your heart. This is a call for you to check it. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Remember, these are decisions that you have already made in your heart before sometimes you even become an adult. sometimes before you eventually realize that this is your true person. And then those orientations are still playing out up till now, making you to lose opportunities. Look at that one that says he cannot borrow. I mean, who are you? Even the richest men in the world borrow. Countries borrow. And then you feel you are somewhat something that you are so self-sufficient that you cannot borrow. But all around you, there are wants, desires here and there that you really need to meet, of which a friend can just assist you with that help. And then that will be the end of the situation. Lots of opportunities have passed so many people because of some of these orientations. You are that dad, you have a friend, he's in good position, he's employing people, but you cannot just approach him to help your son. This is what we are talking about. A whole lot of things going wrong simply because of destructive orientations that people have carried over the years. Let us check it. Let us ask questions. Let us study some of these things that have become godlike figures in forms of orientations that we carry that are not really helpful to us. You know, certain people, simply because of culture, they will never give a voice to their wife simply because they feel that women don't have any contributions to make in family matters. And so many men have lost good ideas, missed good opportunities simply because they are not willing to listen to their wife. It is as bad as that. I can go on and on and on. And little children are growing up learning these things from parents. And then it is also playing out in their life. Do you know that the circle that happens in life is as a result of this orientation? Certain people say that in this family, nobody have bought vehicle, nobody have bought a car. It could just be because of some of these orientations. It started from somewhere and it was passed down, and this is how all the children that holds to this orientation are held down in one aspect of life or the other. And then we now say it is a circle. So what is that orientation that you have been carrying? Have you really asked yourself, is it really worth it? What has life taught me that I should now look away from certain orientations that I have not? Say you cannot forgive, for God's sake. You forget the fact that you yourself, you offend people. There are certain things we learn from our homes, but when we come to the wider society, we discover that there are lots of things that life have to offer that is just beyond the walls of our building, our family homes. This is a social matter that needs serious and urgent attention. Certain people, every time opportunity comes their way, one orientation or the other just makes them to lose it. You see, people are going to, identify with certain celebrities. You say, who is he? Can't he come and greet me? We used to be together. All those orientations that doesn't hold water. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't do us any good. Let us think it through. It calls for serious attention. It calls for serious deliberation. We need to study our lives and try to question why we do certain things that we do. It could just be an orientation that we have held because our dad have said certain things or because our mom have said certain things. And these things have formed the basis for which we have suffered misfortune over the years. Let us watch it. Let us question it. Let us see how we can come out of it. Because if we can really tell the source, then we can see that some of these things they were never worth it in the first place. So if in those days certain things happen between two people, and then these two people have become maybe great kingdoms, and then we want to hold it, and then we are punishing ourselves because of these things that have happened over the years, simply because we were told about them. No, it is not really worth it. Let us accept life. Let us use life to judge issues, and not just a particular aspect of life. Say, this is how my father said it is. Your father is nothing compared to life. The society offers more than what your dad is. That's why at a time you will discover that your dad will not continue to hold you. He will have to let you go into the society. And the society is the biggest tool that life used to teach us. So let us learn from this. Check your orientations. Check those decisions that you have held in your heart. Are they really worth it? If they are not, let us see how we can start reorientating ourselves. Let us give ourselves a reorientation so that the life will now be a better place for us to live. We can become positive impacts to people and also positive impact to ourselves. If this is your first video you're watching on my channel, here on Social Pills channel, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel, like my videos, share them so that we can see how we can reach out to others that needs this information. I remain your chief host, Great Shinwonder. Thanks for coming. Bye.